Hey, what's up, good people? It's Jay Ray, the co host of Q Points, and I wanted to come to you because there are two really important ways that you can support our show. One is by subscribing to it wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. Q Points is pretty much everywhere. The other thing that you can do is you can visit us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Podchaser, and you can leave us a star rating. Please rate us 5 stars because you know you love Q Points. And on Apple Podcasts and on Podchaser, you can actually leave us a written review. It's not required, but it really does help to spread the word about the show, and it helps people to discover it as they're looking for new podcasts to listen to. We're always appreciative of you supporting Q Points. We thank you so much for all that you've done for us so far, and enjoy the show.
Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Q Points, dropping the needle on Black music history. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And I am Jay Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. Happy Thursday, good people.
Listen, we are J Ray. First of all, let me just start with this. We had a blast the other night recording with our friends over at the White People Won't Save You podcast. And I gotta say, that was my kind of carrying on. And I am so appreciative to those brothers, to our friends over at the They Reminisce Over You podcast
Yes.
for inviting us. I feel like we're hopping on and recording a lot of different other people's shows, and I love that. I love crossovers with our podcast brothers and sisters. So more of that, please, y'all. More of that. We love the invites. We're open to it. Let's do this. Let's work. Jay Ray, how you feeling this evening?
I am feeling really good. And I also want to echo that statement because we woke up today and there was like another one in there with like a group. It's like, hey, we think you guys would be great. And that's super dope. So we had so much fun. We've been having a lot of fun over the last 2 weeks. And so yeah, this has really been dope, and we can't wait for you all to hear the shows. So as soon as the shows come out, y'all, our newsletter is doing something. Y'all need to be on it. It's popping a little bit, so make sure that you go on ahead and subscribe to our newsletter. I'm going to put the link in the chat so that y'all can do that and stay up with what's going on. But I will say overall, Sir Daniel, I am extremely good. I'm extremely well. I've been fighting a cold. Okay, let me tell you the fear of living in post-COVID world.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing where you don't know if you can trust. Even when your COVID test at home tells you that you don't have COVID, you're like, it could be a new variant, like variant, not Omarion, something else. I don't know. And I was feeling like I wasn't getting better, and I sound much better, but I went to the doctor. She was like, Johnny, fortunately it's just a cold. It's hanging out in your head though. So I have like swollen, everything behind my nose and in my ears is swollen. So she was like, it's not an infection. You just have a cold. There's a lot going on in there. So we need to get this all drained out. But y'all, I was like, oh, y'all, I might have pneumonia. I literally said that. I've never said that in my 45 years.
Did you put the in front of pneumonia? I may have the pneumonia.
I might have the pneumonia. Can you check me for the pneumonia? I don't know how that go.
Listen, you're absolutely right. It's like sneezing in public. I'm one of those people, if I hear somebody sneeze in public, I'm looking over like, okay, now what's going on? And if I have to sneeze or if I have to cough, I'm definitely like, I'm okay, guys, I'm okay. But if you wake up with your throat tickling or whatever, you just fear the worst, like, good grief, is this it? Is this the moment? But I'm absolutely happy that you are feeling better and that we get to spend some more time with our folks like Mark McPherson is in the building, Trey
Trey's
is in
in
the
the build.
building as well. So I know there's a lot more of you out there watching and listening at this point. So if you're in the chat, please drop a wave or something and just say what's up to your boys. But J Ray, let the people know, like Mark and Trey, they're good,
Yeah.
but let everybody else know how they need to keep up with the Q Points crew, because we are moving around, like we outside, as the kids say.
Q Points is definitely outside. And first and foremost, the easiest way to stay up with Q Points is definitely going to be keeping up with our website. So, of course, it's just simple. It's queue.com. So, queuepoints.com. So, if you go over to qpoints.com, you can find out all the things that are going on with us. You should absolutely, like we said, subscribe to the newsletter. It is a very good way to get right in your email box everything that's going on with the show. We're trying to get to like a 2 time a week email thing so that we can recap and we can share upcoming things. So looking forward to that. You should, if you listen, support your boys. We have a lot going on. Me and Sir Daniel, we're going to Vegas, because we're nominated for the Ambies. We're going to talk about the Ambies in a second, again. But we have a lot going on. So the way that you can support us is definitely shopping in our store, buying merch. I'm wearing our record CDs, cassettes, and boomboxes shirt tonight. By the way, shout out to LL Cool J, who had like a bedazzled boombox at the Grammys.
Huge boombox.
um so definitely going over there and buy some merch, and you can visit our website as well. Just click the subscribe button and become a member of Q Points. So you get a lot of stuff with those memberships, and if you go to the website, you can see all the things you get to see the behind the scenes. So on Mondays, I guess we can announce this because we talked about it, however comma on IG.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue to do however comma on IG. That is our regular pop culture news roundup, foolishness and mayhem show.
A little ish popping,
A little
going on.
ish popping over there. Um, but we will do that on Mondays on Instagram. But you can get access to it by becoming a subscriber, because once it happens on Instagram, it's no longer there. So all of our subscribers, our Insiders Max members, get access to that. So those are all the ways you can stay in contact with us. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for all of the support so far. And yeah, just keep rocking with us.
Yes, indeed. You heard what the man said. J Ray, earlier this week, Rob Digger posted on Twitter something to the effect of hip hop podcasts are not are not holding up the culture anymore. They're becoming like the not she didn't say this, but I'm paraphrasing that it's more so becoming like hip hop TMZ. It's very gossipy and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I'm very proud of us and the work that we're doing to remain intentional about what this show is about highlighting moments and musicians in Black music history for our listeners. And that is why I believe we are nominated for an Ambi for Best Entertainment Podcast. And like Jerry said, we are heading to Vegas
Mm-hmm.
March 7th, which reminds me I need to start looking up tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can get out there so we can do the damn thing, hit up Vegas and collect our award. I'm gonna say
And
again,
collect
and
our
collect our
award.
award. Give me my things, as the kids say. But
So
yes,
no,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say that got a text from Anna Deshawn this morning. Anna Deshawn is also nominated for Queer News. So Anna Deshawn
Yeah.
hit me up and I was like, yeah, we are planning to go. And she was like, yay. So we have, of course, us as Q Points. We have Queer News that's nominated. We have Stitch Please, which is another Black podcast that's nominated, as well as Black Love has a podcast nominated called Soul Affirmations. Shout out to Crystal Hill. Crystal is like the podcast oracle. You know what I'm saying?
Crystal is is it.
Yes. So always grateful for that love. And so yeah, the Ambies, y'all. This is super exciting, and as we've said, it still amazes me who we're nominated with, and I'm just like, okay, this is dope. Let's go collect our
It
award.
it really is dope. Nominations are affirming, very
They
affirming
are.
things. And I get it now. As somebody who used to watch award shows from home, I get it now, the good feeling that it means to be nominated. And somebody that has been nominated finally for a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame um induction is Missy Misdemeanor Elliott. Finally, when the news dropped, somebody brought it to our attention that Missy is probably the first woman hip hop singer, songwriter, producer, rapper to be ever nominated. And I was like, that is true. It brought up some discussion like, how come where's Salt and Pepper? Where is Queen Latifah in the mix? But Missy is in fact the first one to be nominated, and we were pondering why that is and looking up what the criteria to become a Hall of Fame member is.
Yeah, so um it's actually pretty wide open in terms. So the main piece of criteria is you are eligible for you become eligible for induction 25 years after the release of your first record. So, in that case, that's why we often see artists who were once a part of groups. They can be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, once as a part of their group and once as a solo act, because you do
Mm-hmm.
become eligible for induction 25 years after the release of your first record. So the criteria includes things like the influence and significance of the artist's contribution, um and their development and perpetuation of rock and roll. I think that's really interesting. I mean, it is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And what I do
Mm-hmm.
appreciate is I do think they recognize the vastness of what rock and roll entails, which is why you see folks like the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, as part of the
Right.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because she is rock and roll too. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
And perpetuates rock and roll. So those are really the only criteria. So definitely the 25 years. What happens is people get nominated. So Missy is a nominee. She's nominated for induction. So what has to happen is academics, journalists, producers, and other music industry experts vote to decide who gets inducted. And so one of the fun things that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame does is it does allow for fans to vote. So there is a fan vote right now.
Yes.
Um, I mean, it's not the real vote. Like, it's fun to participate in, and we appreciate it,
Yeah.
because we want to see our people float to the top. But that's the criteria. So 25 years after the release of their first record, influence and significance of their contributions, and the development and perpetuation of rock and roll. That's what it requires.
Okay. Well, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm sure all of you out there are doing the same because Missy Elliott is, I think Missy is the bridge. Missy is the connection between our Gen Xers and some the older millennials, and so we all share Missy in common.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that she has a whole lot of us rooting for her, and but she's just contributed so much to the industry as not only a performer, a rapper, a singer, but the pen game is so sick. The pen game, her writing abilities, and the span of people that she's written for is so vast
Mm-hmm.
that she should definitely be a shoe in for her nomination and induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But we also want to take a moment to pay respect to a when I say a great American songwriter, Burt Bacharach is like I'm gonna quote DDM, our rap MC, podcast host of actor out of Baltimore, DDM, Dapper Dan Midas, quoted, I'm going to quote him and say that Burt Bacharach is the infinity stone of songwriters.
Mm.
He said that. And I don't think anything could be truer. Like, he has literally written
Mhm.
the songs of our lives, of that has spanned generations. He has
Yeah.
turned a lot of our favorite musicians into icons because they've sung his songs, and the music has been covered so
Yeah.
many different ways. J Ray, I know you want to hit us with like at least a couple of your favorite Burt Bacharach songs, real quick.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna add one. So I have
Okay,
four. But I want to echo what you just said. Burt Bacharach is one of those songwriters that, particularly in Black culture, Black folks knew a Burt Bacharach tune and
totally.
loved a Burt Bacharach song, right? Um, because it did incorporate so many things. There was always a bit of pop. There was always some love. There was always a little bit of jazz, Broadway. It was all of the things, right? And so even for us growing up, we always grew up knowing Burt Bacharach songs. So
Hmm.
my four, so I just added one. So my four, I had three on my list and I'm gonna add one. So just like me, they long to be close to you. Absolutely one of my favorite Burt Bacharach songs.
The Carpenters,
The
man.
Carpenters,
Ooh,
my goodness. Okay, shout out to Karen
mm.
Carpenter on them drums. We be like singing and
Baby,
drumming, baby.
and that's not an easy task. She did
No.
that. God bless her.
Walk on by, of course.
Yes.
Um, Fell in love with the Dionne Warwick version, but there have been so many versions of that song. Um, Make it easy on yourself. I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to do Jerry Butler's runs, but make it easy on yourself. And I absolutely fell in love with There's Always Something There to Remind Me, which Naked Eyes did,
Hmm.
I think, on their record in like 1982. It was their first album, which also included the absolute jam Promises, Promises, but not the Burt Bacharach version, which is really funny. But
Okay.
Naked Eyes debut album includes a Bacharach song, which is There's Always Something There to Remind Me, and it is absolutely beautiful. So I love that DDM said that because it's true. Burt Bacharach is like an infinity stone of songwriting. Like you pull out a Bacharach song and you like, oh, you got
Yeah,
something.
you
Mm-hmm.
got it. Like, if we cannot listen to Luther Vandross sing "A House Is Not a Home," and l- you can literally be in shambles after after hearing that
Yes.
song, because not only is Luther's vocals taking you to another planet, but
Mm-hmm.
then the lyrics
Mm-hmm.
are going to throw such a dart into your heart that it's just
Yeah.
you're gonna be in a puddle, you're gonna be a putz after you hear him, after you hear Burt Bacharach songs. But no, but we really want to pay homage to a legend, and rest in peace. Thank you for your contributions, Burt Bacharach. um Jerry, before we get into the main topic this evening, there's a couple things that popped up. Okay, so everybody's still reeling over the Grammys of this past
They are.
weekend, and of course our friends on the right, the good Christian conservatives, everybody got their panties in a wad over what's that child, Sam
Sam
Smith's
Smith and what's her name? I can't remember
Kim,
homegirl's
Kim
name that he
Petras.
Kim
Kim
Petras.
Petras.
Yeah.
Their quote unquote demonic um performance on the Grammys. And the imagery is what it is. Yes, you can say there was no interpretation to be made. Sam Smith was cosplaying him from the Powerpuff Girls, if you ask me. He was
I
cosplaying.
that there that explains it. That
Yeah,
explains it.
yeah. But right, middle America and the right wing does not like that. So that was that. But it got me to thinking, it reminded me of of Nicki Minaj's very troublesome performance of the exorcism of Roman or whatever that song was
Tell them about it,
on
Sir
the
Daniel.
I it got me to thinking. I was like, that may have been the first and the last time she was ever invited to be on the Grammys, because that, first of all, the song is hilarious. It's been used in plenty of vines and memes and TikToks because of that one part where she's doing whatever she's doing with her vocals. And it just hit me. I was like, wow, maybe that was the nail in the coffin for her and the Grammys, because Nicki Minaj does not have a good relationship with the Grammys or the Grammy committees. She is just, it feels like she's been blackballed. I think blackballed is a term. She's just not a welcome figure in
She's
that
not.
realm, that platform. But that performance, so I was at work and we watched it on YouTube on the big screen, and we all kind of chuckled at the singing, the super dramatic acting, the miming, the Nikki doing a two step. It was just one of those performances we were just like, wow, that was something.
That was something.
It was a choice.
That's the thing now. Like that was a choice. So this is the first time I've said this out loud. I watched the whole Grammys and was
Mm-hmm.
tweeting. I did not
Yes.
tweet about the Sam Smith and Kim Petras performance because I didn't dig it. I did not dig it because it was doing what it was doing. I just thought it was a lot going on that I was just like, sure, y'all can do
It
that.
felt it felt like
Deliver.
the song didn't warrant all of that.
It felt
But
like the song, like I would have been much more happier with backup dancers, Sam and Kim just giving them a two step. But y'all did a whole, I don't know what it was. It was like, it was the dancing in the red. It was a lot of red, and
it was
and
his
Kim was in a
public
cage. I don't know what she was doing in the cage. I'm not sure. I'm just not
I mean,
sure.
Jerry, it was just their public induction into the Illuminati and paying and hailing to Satan. That's all it was. That's all
When
it
are
was.
we getting our invitation to the
Listen,
Illuminati, Sir Daniel? I
as
thought
soon
about
as we
that.
head
I
out
was
to
like,
Vegas,
as soon as we get out to Vegas, okay, so y'all, we said that we're going to fill out our application to the Illuminati with you. So when we get back from Vegas, our hope is that we have our Illuminati application, and then we can be part. Oh, I got something too I want to add.
sure.
By the way, oh, it fell out. Okay, new Kaleila's out. This imagery, my God.
Oh, that's pretty.
This, it came in the mail today. So well done. All of the liner notes, all of the lyrics, everything we love about music. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to shout out Kalela for being committed to giving us quality products. She really really works hard, and I'm always happy to see her imagery. What y'all couldn't see on camera is that behind the lyrics, there's like a naked Kalela in like suspended animation or whatever back there. So I just wanted to shout that out real quick as well.
What's the name of the album?
The album is called Raven, so y'all should get into
Raven.
Raven by Kalela.
Work. So, dope music from Kalela. Um, talking about Nicki Minaj and her performance. So, of course, everybody's in a tizzy because Billboard dropped one of their lists of greatest MCs ever. Nicki Minaj happens to be on that
She
list,
does.
um, along with some other people, and there's some omissions. And at this point, J Ray, I just feel like these lists are pretty much clickbait because everything is subjective.
Yep.
We know that Billboard is coming from a charting and spins, recording of spins, and how many people have listened to your song
Yeah.
point of view. I don't really look to Billboard for like their stamp of approval on hip hop authenticity.
No.
So everybody relax. It's
It's
just Billboard
fine.
doing their thing. It's okay. I promise it'll be okay.
Here's the thing. I think I agree with you, Sir Daniel. I think what people can get from lists like that, exactly, Trey. These lists are a gimmick. What you might be able to get from it though is maybe you get introduced to an MC that you didn't know. There are people on that list that don't have super high profiles. Most Def is, which is weird that they use the name Most Def. Is
Mm.
Yasin Bey now,
Yasin Bey,
unless
yeah.
unless he went back to Most Def, but I don't believe that that's true. So, but there are folks on this list who you might discover. So, but yeah, I don't think it's meant to be real. Don't get all upset. Um, I don't understand how some of the choices get made. I don't know who looks at, like I said, I don't know who looks at the list and says Yasin Bey should be lower than Future. I don't know how that happens. No diss to Future. I actually think Future is dope. I don't know if he's an objectively better MC than Yasin Bey. That's all I'm saying. I don't.
That's all. That's all we're saying. And we're saying that it will be okay, guys. It will be all right. Do you was like Offset or any of the Migos on that list?
No, none of the Migos were on the list.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting because they've definitely been in the news for obvious reasons, which
yeah.
are pretty sad. But their home company, their management company, QC Quality Control Music, made some pretty big news when it was announced that QC was selling their like a huge percentage of their assets to
Mhm.
what is it called again?
Oh, I have to look at Hybe. Is it?
Hybe, yes,
Yeah.
Hybe Music, which is a Chinese company, and
Mm-hmm.
the deal apparently was brokered by one Scooter Braun, who has become quite notorious in the music industry, especially if you ask Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift. But
Absolutely.
so people are have feelings about this and have emotions around this because a lot of people are feeling like QC Music, Quality Control, they grew up with the Migos. They saw start from get it out the mud, as the kids say, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so now here is this homegrown company representing black culture because that's the Migos especially stood on that as a lot of their album titles is around
Mm-hmm.
culture, right? And stood on creating a new vision for black culture.
Yes.
And here they are to in their words expanding and creating more opportunities for others, but a lot of homegrown, speaking for fans, possibly a lot of homegrown people are feeling like, damn, we don't own anything anymore. We're not going to own anything, even though we're the face of it and we're putting in all our energy and the flavor on it. It's not really ours. So I just want to read something quick from P, of the CEO of Q, one of the CEOs of Quality Control Music. He said, I don't usually post long notes, but I recorded some thoughts tonight. There's no value in separation. There's so much more value when people are working together and not hating and taking each other down, especially when you come from nothing. Stop thinking people are selling out. Instead, see people are selling in and see that you are building something to create more for everybody. Black entrepreneurs are not getting these opportunities on a regular basis, and they should be. Let's stay inspired and celebrate the blessings and leveling up and breaking of barriers. Ready for the next chapter. Thoughts, J. Ray, on that?
I agree. Stuff can be two things. I think
Can be
more
two things
like
can be saying yes.
this is three things. The first thing is I feel that.
Mm-hmm.
Um I more black owned companies need to be viewed and seen in that way and worth a company that's larger saying we want to invest that much money. Absolutely true. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what you said is also true, where we know that when these things leave our communities, they do not come back necessarily. It doesn't trickle down, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
When you go really high, it doesn't always come back unless the people stay committed to making sure that we stay connected to it, right?
Right.
So I don't know what this huge corporation has in mind. I do know this. I know that now QC artists will have more opportunity for international touches, particularly in the Chinese market, which is huge, probably across Asia for that matter. Um, that's going to be big because our music is already big over there. So
Mm-hmm.
there are definitely some good things. I would say the third thing that can be also true is that I don't know that capitalism is going to save black people. I just don't think capitalism is going to save black people. So I just say make y'all money. It's whatever. Like make your
Yeah.
money. Like it's a business decision. Y'all are making business decisions, and as business people, cool. I say that as folks, I don't think I'm reading any more into this than hey, it's a business decision. And if J Ray my photography. Say Hybe is like, boom, we want all J Ray's photography. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know that. I don't know that. I don't know that too. If they like J
Let's.
Ray, we want all of your photography, 200 million. I'm gonna be like, look at you. I'm gonna be like,
Might have to do a little
I
something, you
might
know.
have to figure it out. So, congratulations to QC, who have been on a roll because Lil Yachty is having an entire moment right
Yeah.
now. His record is really resonating, and now they have this. They had a great showing at the Grammys with Quavo's beautiful tribute to Offset. So yeah, you
Yeah.
know, go in and let have.
QC is definitely getting their 40 acres and a mule. And
That was a great
one,
segue.
you like that?
That was really good.
I mean, I'm sorry, y'all. They're really going for their 40 acres and a mule, and a filmmaker and businessman that created a his company called 40 Acres and a Mule is the subject of our show tonight. We are
Mhm,
talking about, of course, the one and only Spike Lee in our 1988 series, because that was my favorite year
mhm,
and had such an impact culture wise between music and movies. We had to talk about Spike Lee and his impact. Spike Lee has
huge.
had a huge impact on hip hop himself, and I don't even think in the beginning he was quite the fan of hip hop, because he was a huge proponent. He is a huge proponent of jazz
Jazz.
music.
Mm-hmm.
Being that his father was a jazz musician, mother
Mm-hmm.
was an educator, and so Spike Lee took his medium of filmmaking
Mm-hmm.
and married that to music, specifically with jazz in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And it, I think jazz was the third character in all of his movies. Okay, I'll say this. Jazz was the fourth character, because for the majority of, like, especially his early films, New York was
Mm-hmm.
a character, especially Brooklyn. And jazz music was also a main character in a lot of his scoring and the way things were shot and scored for these movies.
You know, I I wanna ask you a question. I wanna
Hmm.
one agree, but because I have some specific connections to jazz and Spike Lee that I do want to talk about. But I have a question for you, Sir Daniel, because you actually arrived in Atlanta, what, 91, right? Is when you arrived in
Yes.
Atlanta.
Yes. Hmm.
I'm curious because one of the things I was reflecting on with Spike is how beautiful black people looked look at his movies, it's an entire thing, right? Like I feel like we're lit
Absolutely.
well. I feel like when I think about the first scene of School Days where they just kind of pan uh Larry Fishburne's character is talking to the grab, but he pans across the sea of faces and different shades and da da da. So I'm curious because Spike Lee is an Atlanta dude who went to school in Atlanta first and then went to New York and da 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 da. How do you think? Do you think Atlanta, from your perspective, also plays a role in how he conceptualizes like and shoots black folks in his stuff?
Well, I would say that there is definitely an influence because he was schooled here at
Mm-hmm.
Morehouse.
Yeah.
So he spent a lot of time here at Morehouse and seeing. Whenever you go away to college, you're going to see a plethora of people from different parts of the nation,
Mm-hmm.
from different parts of the United States, or even outside of the United States. And that's the wonderful thing about going away to school is that you get to be exposed to different people and see different types of people, how they look, and just let that be influenced. And as a filmmaker, I absolutely have no doubt that his time here in Atlanta definitely influenced the way he captured us, the way he captured our hues, the way he captured our dimensions,
Mm-hmm.
those faraway shots. Like one of the faraway shots that I always think about was when She's Gotta Have It. Thank you, Carlton. I see
Yes.
Carlton. I see you in the
Mm-hmm.
building. She's Gotta Have It. Probably I ain't have no business watching it at the age that I
I got
saw
a
it.
whole me too. I got a whole story about that.
And but yeah, seeing those aerial shots over the bed and
Mm-hmm.
seeing what was her name? Was it Lola? Or
What was her name? What was that character's name? And she's
if
gotta
you
have
if
it.
you remember
Real
her
quick.
name,
Yeah.
if you remember her name, please put it in the chat. But seeing her body and her different sutures bodies from those aerial shots, it was just not that it wasn't seen before, but it didn't look that beautiful until Spike Lee put his thing on it.
Yeah.
Nola,
Nola,
darling, that's it.
darling. Yes. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Mark. So my love of jazz started from Spike Lee films. So I first when so she's got to have it. So this is 86. I'm like 9. We had a sleepover cuz we used to have group
Hmm.
sleepovers
Yeah,
in my neighborhood all cuz all the boys were friends, right?
same.
Um and so the parents would go to sleep and then we could like play video games and we could like watch movies, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And she's gotta have it. The VHS was there. We like, oh my god, what is this? Like, it's black
Hmm.
people on the cover. And then we watched it. Of course, it was in black and I didn't get it. None of us got it. But it was
Right.
like, oh wait, like because there was like the nudity. We didn't finish. She's gotta have it. But I remember seeing this blackness and these bodies appear on screen, and it was just different for me. But when I truly kind of connected with jazz, it was Mo Better Blues.
Hmm.
I saw Mo Better Blues and fell in love with jazz music and wanted to know everything. And that literally came because, to your point, Jazz was just another character that showed up so often in Spike Lee films. He infused, I don't know if Spike played anything. I don't know if he plays an instrument, but
Hmm.
the music just showed up. Cause I remember when I first saw School Days, also when I was really young, knew it was great, didn't know why it was great until I got like older and into college, right? But seeing the musical numbers kind of break out and like all of the dancing and seeing all these fabulous black people, Spike just had this thing where the music was like it was not a it was a character. It was a character in
Absolutely.
all these movies.
And back to your point about Mo Better Blues, I think that may have been the first time that Spike used rap music explicitly, or reached out to a rap group in Gangstar
Mm-hmm.
to record for that soundtrack.
Yep.
And if you look at it, it kind of happened all at the same time, where everybody was kind of spinning off into this, digging in their jazz crates
Mm-hmm.
and lending and borrowing from jazz loops and jazz musicians to create a whole new sound in hip hop that was championed by Gangstar,
Mm-hmm.
Tribe Called Quest, Main Source. You know, all of those cats came into play, and I think Mo Better Blues kind of allowed, Premier and Guru to expand their palettes and to start
Mm-hmm.
incorporating more live jazz musicians, to be on their records.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, of course, from that point, we got the
Yep.
Jazzmatazz series from Guru,
Mm-hmm.
and which of course took him to another height,
Yep.
which took hip hop to another level, because now we're being exposed to different audiences. You got rappers showing up at like Montreux jazz
Mm-hmm.
festivals across the, all any other jazz festival that you can think of. You would not think to have seen rappers or hip hop participants in those spaces. But when Spike finally, merged with hip hop, and it created the jazz hip hop, the jazzalistic hip hop fusion
Mm-hmm.
that was going on,
Right.
then we are integrating those other spaces. And then you have your diggable planet. So it's kind of
Yes.
it's like a whole spawn, a domino effect from Spike and hip hop marrying to getting married.
Yeah, and when you think about it from a visual perspective, it just makes sense, right? So you have Spike doing these movies that exist in present day black culture. So you have hip hop existing in those spaces, and then you layer into it like these jazz underbeds and things like that. So it helped us see what
Mm-hmm.
was possible, right? Like this music that we may not have been as familiar with was also part of the tapestry of what blackness looked like. So you can exist as a hip hop star in a jazz space, and you can exist in a jazz space as a, in hip hop as well. And we're seeing that even today with the amazing Robert Glasper winning, R&B album of the year. But
Who?
who yo
Who
Sab,
the Robert
he just put a shirt out. He put the "Who the F is Robert Glasper's" shirt out. It's out
I've
today.
got a cop one. Got a
I'm
cop
getting
one.
listen, shout out to him. But absolutely. So I know that I mentioned School Days a minute ago. That film, and you said this as we were planning for this show, Sir Daniel. School Days is iconic.
Abso-friggin-lutely. School Days has been mimicked in several hip hop videos.
Mm-hmm.
The premise has been mimicked in several hip hop videos. It's been the inspiration for a lot of young people going to HBCUs,
Yep.
because after School Days, I think School Days and A Different
Different.
World were
They happened
kind
at the
of
same. They were
concurrent,
parallel.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
parallel. And so these two cultural phenomenons influence a whole generation of young people to explore the HBCU life, where you may not have had that before in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But we got exposed to HBCU life. We got exposed to band life.
Yep.
Um, and most importantly, because of School Days, we got exposed to go-go. So we
Yep.
so we were getting bits and pieces of go-go from early hip hop joints like Salt and Pepper. Salt and Pepper, Herbie Lovebug, period,
Yeah.
was married to go-go. If you listen to like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of Herbie's early production, it's a marriage to go-go, because they did a lot of touring in that area. You go to New Jersey, Pennsylvania, DC, Maryland, and of course in DC and Maryland the go-go is pumping. and we're introduced to the band, the go-go band, EU, Sugar Bear, and the butt is a phenomenon. You can't go to a wedding, a school reunion without a barbecue without hearing the butt at some point. So that, of course, again, go go the butt having the platform of School Days is also a connection to hip hop
Yep.
because shortly after the butt drops, EU starts going on tour with Salt and Pepper, and then of course you have Shake Your Thing, which
Yep.
becomes a huge hit. And yes, HBCU
See
football
football.
games,
Yep.
which is in the conversation is still happening about HBCU football
Yep.
games and coaches today because, of course, of Deion Sanders and whatnot. So, yeah, this whole spike, I don't know if he, I don't know if it was done on purpose, but he just didn't know like the kind of cultural impact that a lot of his movies have had outside of the film world. And each movie has some kind of launching pad into hip hop, into rap, into a larger cultural conversation.
Yeah. Upon
Oh wait,
reflection,
Did
what?
I talk about I don't want to be alone tonight?
You did not talk about that. Let's talk about, because I know that you love that. I'm a Madam
Listen,
Riri's and I
okay,
put
good
that
or bad
actually in the
hair.
email. Yeah, the good hair, bad
Yeah,
hair. I put that sequence. Okay, let's talk about this because School Days, like I said, when I first saw it, I don't know that because movies to me were like movies were a thing and then musicals were a thing. And I was like, oh, wait, this is like a movie and like a musical at the same time.
yeah.
Because I didn't know that sequence was coming. And that was like the first music sequence that showed up in the
Mm-hmm.
film. And what was so dope is one, you have all of these mega talented actors. And this was at the time, Sir Daniel, we can't forget this. This was at the time when these people had to do a little bit of everything. They had to sing a little bit, they had to dance a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, they had to act. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you had to be competent in many areas to show up for these films. So that whole sequence top to bottom for me, the good hair bad hair sequence gets me every time. It's so good. The lead up to it when they walk in, and you see the juxtaposition, and Joe Wally is giving, like, it's
Right.
perfect.
There's so many lines that we recite to each other. Um, the the gamma rays snap, the
Yep.
meow, all of that kind of stuff.
Meow.
We it still has such an impact on us, and of course, the careers of like several iconic actors launched off of not just School Days, but several Spike Lee movies. Tisha Campbell,
Mhm.
Lawrence Fishburne, Giancarlo Esposito, the Giancarlo Esposito.
Bro.
The list goes on and on. Of
Denzel
Jasmine Guy,
Washington.
Denzel Washington, and School Days by itself, probably one of the most beautifully shot movies again, and again his eye for music videos, and we're going to talk about music videos specifically,
Yeah,
but each one of those scenes was shot like a music video.
it was.
It had a life of its own, especially I Don't Want to Be Alone Tonight
I know
with
that's
the
your
gamma rays. That is like every homecoming court, every um talent show, somebody is doing a dance to I Don't Want to Be Alone Tonight. And Tisha Campbell is doing her good singing. I'm sure that helped her get a lot of her record deals in the
hmm
future. But it's just I can't go on. I can't go on enough about School Days and the impact that it had on us.
It was
And
dope.
it was just dope as far as Spike Lee's canon of
Yeah.
storytelling.
Yes.
We have that, and then we get into a less glossier, a more
Mhm.
grittier movie like Do the Right Thing, which again comes in at a very important time in America's torrid history with race relations,
Mhm.
because New York was a hotbed, Brooklyn was a hotbed, Bensonhurst. There was just I know firsthand there was just certain neighborhoods as a young black man, you are not walking into alone because you can be accosted and attacked at any moment by people who don't like black people at that time.
Mm,
And it got really violent and very serious and escalated to higher heights during that summer of 89. Because we're out of 88, we're 89.
we're 89, and we're in the first Bush years, which is continuing the
Mm-hmm.
Reagan years.
Yep.
And I think the thing about Do the Right Thing, even though it is an absolutely, you're absolutely right. I like that word, grittier film. It wasn't less beautiful. Like, I don't feel like
Mm-hmm.
he took less care in making sure that we looked good on camera, and that the way it was shot reflected the quality of the storytelling, and that the movie itself deserved the kind of music that it got. Like, because of that film, we of course
Mm-hmm.
got Fight the Power, which
Mm-hmm.
becomes a rallying cry.
Anthemic, yes, sir. You're
So
absolutely right.
when I remember, I think I saw that video before I actually saw the film, because I didn't see the film until it came out on VHS. And
Mm.
I remember wanting to be in New York so bad after seeing that video and seeing all these black faces on the street, and like committed to saying, we not going to go for this foolishness. And of course I was a huge fan of Public Enemy at the time, because I mentioned this on our last show. Public Enemy was the gold standard for me in terms of rap groups. We get Fight the Power because Do the Right Thing existed. And there we go once again, like hip hop becoming a central piece of why that film did what it did.
Shout out to Shawana Scott, my one of my closest friends when I went to Hanson Place School in Brooklyn. Shout out to Shawana Scott because her bigger sister, as a graduation present when we graduated 8th grade, she took us to go see Do the Right Thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw it right at a movie theater right off of Flatbush Avenue. No, not Flatbush Avenue. What was that? Church? Was it Church Avenue? It goes through downtown Brooklyn. It's been so
Mm-hmm.
long, y'all. But she took us to that movie theater, and I just remember feeling the energy, the tension
Mm-hmm.
of that movie sitting in that theater, and seeing we're introduced to Rosie Perez,
Mm-hmm.
spicy
Winning.
Latina,
Mm-hmm.
winning, spicy Latina, Mookie, Mookie, the whole
Yes.
it's Brooklyn through and through. We know these characters, and to your earlier point about how Spike would shoot us in these movies, it was an intentionally done. That was a very hot looking movie, and I say
Mm-hmm.
hot temperature wise
Like, temperature wise,
because
it looked hot.
it looked hot. Everybody was sweating.
Yep.
It just looked super hot, and I felt. But even in that hotness, like I think one of the most beautiful scenes is that scene where Spike Lee's character Mookie and Rosie
Mm-hmm.
Perez's character Mookie are in the bed trying to be
Yeah.
cool, and he gets a bowl of ice cubes, and they
They
do that,
do that.
the rubbing of
That's,
the ice cube, the lips, the nipples,
yes.
the whole thing. Beautifully shot,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
sexy, a very sensual scene. And even though it was hot, it was like, oh yeah, that kind of ghetto love where the
Mm-hmm.
AC. First of all, in New York at that time, there was no such thing as central air and heating.
It still
We're
isn't,
talking.
child. We still got
It's
window
still
units
not.
in New York.
It's still box fans and hopefully a breeze. That's what it's giving in the summertime. So that hit home for me so much. But yes, Rosie Perez, of course, launches her career and becomes
Absolutely.
a choreographer. Goes on to choreograph the Fly Girls on
In living
In
color.
Living Color,
Mm-hmm.
which in itself is a cultural phenomenon. Again, lending itself to hip hop, creating another lane for dancers from the hip vein of hip hop to have another lane to be in movies, to be in TV shows, of course, videos. So Spike's impact of putting the right people in the right place, actors, people who change the culture and make it to what it becomes. And so after Do the Right Thing, we have, what do we have? We have
Oh,
um
I think we had Mo Better Blues was
the
after,
most.
was right after that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in fact, let me pull up the list because there were so many joints. So She's Gotta Have It
Mm-hmm.
was the first one that we become known for. So hold on one second. I'm in my Spike Lee bag. So yeah, Do the Right Thing. Then we had Mo Better Blues. Then Carlton mentioned, of course, we have Jungle Fever.
Free Jungle Fever, which, wow, again, talk about cultural impact and
Yep.
how the crack epidemic, because
Mm-hmm.
at the heart, yes, this was a movie about interracial relationships, but the backdrop was this crack epidemic happening and how it was impacting families. Again, something that the hip hop community knew all too well and spoke to us because we had been talking about that forever,
Yep.
from the Crack is Whack days to the Just Say No days. And now here Spike Lee is introducing a young Halle Berry, who is
Mm-hmm.
not very pretty in this movie,
Yep.
and Samuel L. Jackson, who I love. Spike Lee's relationship with Samuel
It's
L.
always, it
Jackson.
is. He is.
Always.
And of course we get Wesley Snipes in that film as well. Ozzy and Ruby D. You know, we get, oh, can we
Yes.
talk about the connection? Also, Spike was very good about the connection to Black film history, because in his films you also get someone from the past that shows up in these
Yes.
films as well. So yeah, and of course Jungle Fever produces, Stevie Wonder is the soundtrack over there, so you get the Stevie Wonder track, and I think he did the whole soundtrack actually.
He certainly did. Stevie Wonder did the whole soundtrack, and Spike had great relationships with Stevie. And then we also see that he has this developed this relationship with Prince,
Prince.
and, and we see Prince adding to the Crooklyn soundtrack,
Uh-huh.
because we have Money Don't, what is it?
Money Don't
Money
Matter
Don't
Tonight.
Money Don't
Yeah.
Matter Tonight, and I don't know. You have, if you can get, if you get Prince and Stevie Wonder to do your whole soundtracks, you're that
That's
dude.
that's
You're that dude.
yeah, so actually Money Don't Matter Tonight came, it was pre, it may have appeared on the soundtrack, but what ended up happening, so apparently Prince and Spike met after She's Gotta Have It. Prince loved She's Gotta Have It, and him and Spike had the opportunity to meet and just developed a friendship. So, but so this is actually around the same time. So like 91, Prince's New Power Generation, and he's like, "Yo, Spike, um, I want you to do the video." And then so the, as the rumor has it, he didn't even give Spike any notes. Spike did the video. Prince just ran the video. Like it wasn't, and that's crazy when you think of how much of a control, I mean, Prince has been described as a control freak, right?
Just a little
Apparently,
bit.
he, you know what I'm saying? But apparently, he trusted Spike enough to do what needed to be done. So he believed in him. He didn't have any notes. He was like, they just put the video out after he did
Yeah.
the video. And of course, to that point, that leads to you know, of course, Girl Six and all of that.
Girls.
But I think that brings up a point. So things that we didn't know. I didn't know. Let me speak for me. I didn't
Okay.
realize how extensive Spike Lee's music video resume
Mm-hmm.
was. Okay. So we're gonna drop some bombs real quick because I don't know if folks know this.
Do you know? Do you know?
Do
Do you know?
right. So Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. So he did White Lines.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That shocked me. I had no clue that Spike Lee was even making videos at that time.
Exactly. And now we're gonna actually do, so y'all should tune in. We're gonna do a QP Science 3000. I still haven't watched that video. Have you watched that video?
I haven't seen it in a very long time, so it'll be like watching it for the first time again.
So yes, y'all should tune in for our next QP Science 3000 because we're gonna watch the White Lines video. This surprised me, but after I went back and I watched it, I was like, oh, I totally see it. Spike Lee directed No One in the World by
By
Anita Baker.
the Anita Baker. Yeah, something is so glossy and
Mm-hmm.
the flowing dress that
Mm-hmm.
Anita spinning around and a very simple
Mm-hmm.
a very simple video, but when you think about it, that trolley Spike loves a trolley shot.
He does.
A moving trolley. He loves a moving trolley. He likes to, move around the camera around people, his subject. So that makes absolute sense and beautiful, beautiful work.
Yep.
What's the last one that we did? Well, of course we knew this one.
We knew this one. And this gives us an excuse to also big up this film. But Revolution by Arrested Development.
Mm-hmm.
Of course coinciding with the that was for the film
Malcolm
X,
X. Mm-hmm.
which was for me pivotal moment because I had been introduced. Shout out to Miss Kegler, my 10th grade English teacher who introduced the autobiography of Malcolm X to me. And that has
Mm-hmm.
become my favorite book of all time. So I couldn't wait till this movie came out. And then in addition, we got this dope video from Arrested Development, who at that time were having a really good moment in their career.
Absolutely. So Carlton, I don't want to skip over two things. Carlton mentioned the Girl Six movie, which is, are you talking about Prince
Mm-hmm.
is like all up and through that. Especially, I think that was the resurgence of Nasty Girl, if you ask me, by Vanity Six, because that totally was like the jump off song of Girl Six, and it's just a very sexy movie, um, delving into the life of phone sex operators.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then also, we can't skip over Crooklyn,
Oh, I
because
love Crooklyn.
Crooklyn gave us a really beautiful hip hop anthem. Um,
Crooklyn Dodgers,
Crooklyn Dodgers,
Master
the
A's, Special
Special
Ed.
Ed
Oh, Buckshot.
and Buckshot, the
Mm-hmm.
first one,
The
right?
first one. Mm-hmm.
And then we got a sequel
Yep.
from the Clockers
Mm-hmm.
soundtrack, which featured Chub Rock, J. Rue the Damager, and OC.
I
No,
think
not
you're right. Yeah.
OC. Was it
It was it.
OC?
Somebody let
Wait.
us know who was on the second Crooklyn. Was it Crooklyn Dodgers too? Crooklyn Dodgers. I have to look it up. Dodgers.
Crooklyn. No, it was Crooklyn.
It was, Crooklyn
Uh,
Dodgers 95.
Special Ed. Special Ed.
Oh, so
Special
Special
Ed
Ed
was
must have been
on.
in the second. No, the first one was Special Ed, or maybe he was
Special
in
Ed,
both.
Buckshot. Special Ed, Buckshot, and Master Ace. And the second one was J. Rue, Chub Rock, and I want to say OC.
Crook. Oh, here it is right here. J. Rue, you are absolutely right. Chub Rock, J. Rue the Damager, and OC. Oh,
Yes.
did you
Okay.
know that there was a three? I didn't know that there was a three, and I need to hear it. There was a Crooklyn Dodgers 3, which featured Jean Grey, Mos Def, and Memphis Bleak. Ninth Wonder produced that one.
Oh, we got to listen to that. We got to
I
check that
have
out.
not heard that. I have no idea.
See what happens when you tune into Q Points. Even us, even the hosts of the show, we get schooled on something and we find out something new, and now we're getting treated to new music, well, new to us, in this third um iteration of Crooklyn Dodgers. But yes, again, Spike Lee's creation of this platform for hip hop continues. And I think, I don't even know that Spike Lee realizes how much his character Mars Blackman had an effect on the new b-boy,
Yeah.
the new b-boy, the new and what they looked like. Mars Blackman as a character, if you guys remember, Mars Blackman was Spike Lee's character in She's Gotta Have It. And small in stature, but he looked like every dude in New York at the time, with the bike messenger cap
Right.
flipped up the top, the Nike gear, the nameplate chain, the Gazelles glasses, and Jordans.
Mhm.
Impact. We talking about culturally, Michael Jordan sneakers impact on hip hop culture, the way we dressed, was so huge that I believe even Spike, I don't know if he officially became a spokesperson for Nike at the time, but I know down the line, the image of Marcus Blackman got used in corporation with Michael Jordan and the whole Jordan identity of the sneakers and hip hop. And just that do you know character, that
Mhm.
Mars Blackman showing up as the hood dude that Nola was dating, the messenger, the one that listened to the hip hop, could barely carry that huge boombox that he would carry around. But yeah, that just the way we look, Spike Lee had an influence on that as well in this movie. And again, it wasn't clear on whether or not Spike Lee was a huge proponent of hip hop in the beginning,
Right.
but he lent a lot to hip hop and um, influenced a lot of different things, the way we look and the way we dress.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, when you think of Yo MTV Raps in that era,
Mm-hmm.
the Jordan commercials was like on all the time. So we were all very familiar with that particular character, and I don't think we give Spike enough credit for like the acting stuff, because we have to also remember, like, he was also not just directing these films, he had main characters. He is a main character in School Days. Like,
Yeah.
he's a main character.
Yes. Yes.
So there's a lot to be lent, and so I do think, to your point, he gave a lot to hip hop. And I also think uh hip hop business people, hip hop creatives learned a lot from him, to say,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, so I could direct my videos. Oh, I could act and actually be pretty good." Right? So I do think rappers got things from Spike as well. And I know that we talked about stars earlier, but Spike launched just the number of people that he launched. He was doing Tyler Perry stuff before Tyler Perry was doing Tyler Perry stuff.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And you mentioned Tisha Campbell, like, we still remember her from that. She's done so many things, but we still remember her from School Days. I first became aware of Denzel Washington in Mo Better Blues. He'd done other
Mm-hmm.
things, but they weren't things that resonated with me. So I became aware of him for that. I don't know that Spike even gets credit for that. Like, putting Denzel, Lawrence Fishburne, and he was Larry
Laura,
back then.
he sure was. And of course, don't forget Angela Bassett
Yep.
in the Malcolm X movie. Uh, Again, the relationship with Spike Lee and Samuel L. Jackson
Hmm.
is, I don't think you can compare that to anybody else, any other
Yeah.
filmmaker
Yeah.
that has somebody that they really love and work well with be like a through line through each of their movies.
Mm.
You have Samuel coming through, like we mentioned earlier, Wesley Snipes, Holly Berry,
Hmm.
um, Lynette McGee. There's just so many people. Go ahead.
We can't forget Joe Wally, his sister.
His sister,
Joe
yes.
Wally is an icon herself, who was walking around with the curly natural
Yep.
in the 80s. Nobody was doing what she was doing like that back then, and walking fully in her truth. Joe Wally was a whole thing. If you don't know her name, you absolutely know her face and
You've
her
seen her.
image.
I mean, they look just alike if you
They
ask
do.
me.
They
Spike and
do.
Joao look just alike. And to your knowledge, J. Ray, are there any other film directors that had a clothing store and made their put out their own merchandise aside from Spike Lee.
Yeah, because 40 Acres
I
and a Mule was a whole brand. I
was the
can't.
whole brand, the t-shirts, the hats, a staple in Brooklyn, someplace, like one of those places that you just got to go see when you go to Brooklyn back in the day.
I think
I
that
think
is
he
a
was
really
it.
unique thing. Like this brother really did not only add a lot to hip hop culture, but really did um I think put some respect on hip hop's name in the greater culture and helped hip hop become the juggernaut that it is today. Shout out to
Absolutely.
Spike.
Shout out to Spike Lee. Wrapping up, this was really dope. A dope look back at Spike Lee and just looking at the breadcrumbs and the things that he did and created back in the day for, well, up until today. He's
Mm-hmm.
still viable. He's still relevant to the
Yep.
culture, if you ask me. He carries the Knicks on his back.
He,
The man is
he's
a
a
Knicks
meme.
super fan, and so hey, and his kids, there was a commercial where his daughter was rapping, or she helped create the commercial. So he's got a whole his children are now following in his footsteps in the filmmaking and commercial creating. So I'm not mad at it. The his movies are being turned into series on Netflix. Like She's Gotta
Mm-hmm.
Have It became a series after a while. So that work still holds up to this day.
Mm-hmm.
It still holds up and still is what hip hop is, part of hip hop,
Yes.
and should be discussed in the conversation of hip hop turning 50, because Spike Lee definitely added to everything
Mm-hmm.
as part of this culture is concerned.
Absolutely agree. Y'all, this has been dope. Shout out, let us know either, if in our description, or send us an email or do it online. Let us know what your favorite Spike Lee film, what your favorite song from a Spike Lee film is. We would love to hear that. But be sure to tune in next week. We are going to be rolling with Flavor next week. Uh right.
Well, with the flavor.
Yeah, we're excited to really talk about this amazing compilation album from it's a marker of a time. We are going to revisit Rolling with Flavor, which is the Flavor Unit compilation album.
Yes, shout
From
out to Queen Latifah and Shakim. Oh, Spike Lee gave Queen Latifah her first movie break in Jungle Fever
You are
as
absolutely right. The
the
wait
very sassy
the
waitress. I can't
waitress.
believe you brought her white ass up
Right.
in here.
You are at that. What I
I
remember
almost
how
forgot
big a
that.
deal that was, where
Yup.
it was like Queen Latifah is going to be acting.
Mm-hmm.
Yup. Wow. That's a wonderful through line to our next show.
Yep.
So come back, hang out with us as we revisit Rolling with Flavor. You can stream it, listen to it. I gotta do that too. It's gonna be interesting listening back because I don't know what it's gonna sound like.
I recently found the vinyl. So I have the
Okay.
whole album on vinyl. So I've been revisiting that. It's it was a time.
It was a
It was
time.
definitely a time. There's definitely some music on there that is timeless,
Mhm.
and we'll discuss that. But it's
Yes.
definitely a time capsule of the 90s for
Yes.
sure, and where hip hop was in that era.
Yes.
Definitely.
It's going to be super fun. So make sure that y'all tune in for that. And also, y'all, make sure that you do all the things. So certainly follow us on social media. Make sure you subscribe and listen to the show. Make sure that you get some products. Like I said, I'm rocking the records, CDs, cassettes, and boomboxes shirt tonight. You can get that in our store. And you can become a member of Q Points and get all the stuff. So all the behind the wall stuff, and you can see all of our extra content.
J Ray, what do I always say at the end of every show? In this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
My name is J Ray.
This is Q Points dropping the needle on Black music history. We will see you all on the next go round. Be safe.
Peace.
Peace.